I don't say, I'll see you in 400 billion nanoseconds. We don't carry on this way. I was on the street 5 minutes later. And what I wonder is if I contaminated the entire jury. Because it indicated that the judge, so I said, because it sounds like it's more than it actually is if you don't know what a milligram is. I just made that point. I'm an educator. I want people to understand you when you communicate. That's what communication is. Didn't serve on that jury. Okay. I'm sorry to bore you with these jury stories. This happened just 8 months ago. No, time went fast, a year and a half ago. So, once again, I kind of make it into like the 20. And then the judge is now questioning us. So what is it? It's somebody got mugged on the street. It's he said, she said, but it's two she's. She said, she said. A teenage girl, 17, 18-year-old girl, was accused of mugging a woman coming home with groceries. Okay. The girl is there, I think she's 18, so she's tried and go, there she is, right? Okay. They say, well, here's the details of the case. Oh, first, the defendant's lawyer looks and says, I think I recognize that man over there. He's pointing to me. This is only a year and a half ago, a little more visible by then. So the judge says to me, do you know this attorney? I said, I've never seen him in my life. So he seems to recognize you. I said, I get that a lot. So then we kept going. I was being truthful. I get that a lot, right? Doesn't mean he doesn't. I just get that a lot. So apparently, this comes down to a single eyewitness, the woman who was mugged, who identified the defendant 2 weeks later in a lineup. Okay. So it goes down, it gets to me, and she says, do any of you jurors, potential jurors, have an issue with the fact that it could be down to the eyewitness account of the woman mugged against the defendant's account? I said, is there any other, by the way, there was nothing in the woman's possession that was accused of having been stolen that was found on her body. So it's really, like I said, she said, I said, is there any other kind of evidence? And she said, no, it's just an eyewitness testimony. And I said, well then I cannot render a verdict here. If all you have is eyewitness testimony. The judge then said, I said, given what I know about the fallibility of eyewitness testimony, I cannot convict on eyewitness testimony if that's all you have. The judge then says, do any other jurors agree with Juror Tyson that he needs more than one witness to convict? And then a juror behind me said, that's not what he said. So what I wanted to say was, see what I mean? You got it wrong, and that was only 12 seconds ago. I was on the street again. I had to get all that off my chest. So I still have yet to serve jury duty. I'm not fit to analyze the data of a trial because I apparently am not easily influenced. Maybe we also fear death. Remember 2011, there was a guy who was sure the world was going to come to an end? Remember that one, Judgment Day? And, and he spent all his money and took out all these ads, and May 21st. Of course, we're still here. But again, the billboard wars are just, there's no end to them. Here's one, so that's sort of these are like pro the Bible prophecy, and then here's one against it, praised Darwin. So I don't know why people think the argument is about billboards. But here's something that's for sure in our country. You totally can't read what this chart, but look at the trend line in it. You see it, it gets narrower at the bottom. This is a ranking of all the countries, of 25 countries in the world, by what percentage of their citizenry answers yes to the following question. Did humans develop from an earlier species of life on Earth? Okay, didn't even use the word evolve, just develop from. If you say yes to that, it means you embrace evolution as laid out by Darwin. If you say no, it means you reject evolution. So that's a ranking of the countries in order. And let me see. So at the top is Iceland, and then you go down Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Japan, Britain, Norway, Belgium, Spain. There's Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Hungary, Luxembourg, Ireland, Slovenia, Finland, Czech Republic. The Eastern Bloc countries are there. There's the United States right down there, just above Turkey. So it means there's a huge fraction of the United States that is not plugged in to what science is telling us about the tree of life, about life on Earth in general. And so, in a free country, sure, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. But you have to just know the consequences. The consequences are that if you don't know the science or the engineering of how that works, and these are the fields that are the engines of economies of the 21st century, then if you influence the science classroom, then you're dooming the future economic strength of the country. It's that simple. And in a free elective democracy, you have the right to vote that way. But I'm here to just alert you of the consequences. And there's no tradition of scientists knocking down the Sunday school classroom, telling the preacher what to teach. There's no history of that. Atheists don't even do that, right? Do atheists picket outside your church? No. They don't come near your church. Right? You ever see them? Don't go inside. Oh, right? That's not what they do. So when I see sort of religious philosophy trying to get into the science classroom, I'm thinking, understand where this is going to go. Understand what will happen. I'm just letting you it's the future of the country. And by the way, just while I should just remind Earth wants to kill you. If it's all Earth is a haven for life. Do you know how much data you have to ignore to say that? How about the fact that like 99% of all species that ever lived are now extinct? Earth did a real good job killing them. Okay? Earth wants to kill you. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, drought, floods, disease. Earth wants us dead. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And if Earth doesn't succeed, the universe wants to kill you too. In fact, the universe is better at it than the Earth is. Because the universe can send in a killer asteroid and do this. This crater is made by a meteor, and it's called Meteor Crater. That's how we roll in astrophysics. Any geology majors out there? Okay, you guys are the worst with naming stuff.
We prefer literal terms.
I was joking earlier, I said, I picked up a nice pretty rock. Oh, it's a pretty rock. Oh, that's orthoclase feldspar. I don't want the rock anymore. Chemistry majors, biology majors, you're no better. Biology, the most important molecule in the human body, it's got 9 syllables. You have to abbreviate the damn thing. Deoxyribonucleic acid. I got the whole universe, Big Bang. You can't name one molecule in the human body easy? Where was I? Quite distracted. This happens. This crater is almost a mile across. You can sink a 60-story building in the bottom of this crater, bury it, and you wouldn't even see it. Meteor crater, Arizona. Arizona famous for holes in the ground. What's the other big hole in the ground? Famous hole. Grand Canyon. I was just there. We were filming there for Cosmos. We filmed in both places. So, no, I went to the edge of it, you know. That's grand. That's the Grand Canyon. But then I went to this, and you can't even see it because there's a lip around the crater. You gotta like come up onto the crater, and there's the hole in the ground. In one fell swoop. Whatever that means. I like switching. I say swell swoop sometimes. Because I don't know what fell swoop, fell swoop means. So that was a bad day in Arizona right there. And I'm just saying. I'm more impressed with Meteor Crater because the Grand Canyon, you know, took millions of years to carve, and it's beautiful. This took 7 seconds. I'm going with the 7 seconds, all right? Here's, you know, if you were around 65 million years ago, this is what you would have seen. Now, I want to show this to a high school class, this image. And who sits in the front row in high school? Nerd kids, yeah, nerd kids. And the cool kids sit in the back row. Well, a front row kid in high school raised his hand and said, Dr. Tyson, is that an actual photograph? And I said, that's when I knew there's no hope. Then where did you go with that question? I said, yes, the pterodactyl had a digital camera, and in the fossil we removed the chip, and we could still read the chip, and we got the, you know, how do you... This thing hit near the Yucatan Peninsula of what is now Mexico. And once joked that, of course, the dinosaurs didn't call it Mexico at the time. But then someone in the front row said, and this is like the only sort of hilarious racist joke that's not really racist, it's just funny. But it's sort of racist, but it's really funny. So, it's
sort of racist, but not.
So the asteroid hit the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula of what is now Mexico, and I try to be cute, and I said, but that's not what the dinosaurs called it. And someone said, well, the dinosaurs called it Mexico. That's good. That's good. They were like the Mexican dinosaurs. They would have called it Mexico. There is an asteroid with us in its sights, discovered December 2004, with an orbit that intersects Earth. Once we discovered that it intersects Earth, then we named it. We named it Apophis, after the Egyptian god of darkness and evil, yes. We save all the evil names for the asteroids that could render us extinct. Had it not aimed towards Earth, we'd name it something more innocuous, like Tiffany. Right? I mean, yeah. There's no deadly Tiffany anything, right? So we have softer names to give asteroids that are not going to kill us. This one is going to have a close approach on April 13th in the year 2029. April 13th. That year, that's on Friday. Just in the interest of disclosure. Just saying. It's going to come close. It's the size of the Rose Bowl. It's going to come closer than our Earth-orbiting satellites. Now, you get between us and our hardware, that's fighting words, right? So, we have deflection scenario, we send up a spaceship and it feels the gravity of the asteroid, and the asteroid feels the gravity of the spaceship, and they want to draw towards one another, but you don't let that happen. You fire some retro rockets that prevent the drifting of the spaceship. And the act of preventing the drift actually tows the asteroid out of a harmful orbit. It's a kind of a gravitational tractor beam. We got this figured out on paper. We think it would work. It's just unfunded at this point. We will learn in 2029, April 13th, if it will hit us exactly 7 years later. April 13th, 2036. That's a Thursday, by the way. Here is the scenario if it hits. If it hits at the center line of its orbit that we calculate, it will hit 500 kilometers west of Santa Monica, and it will create a tsunami that will raise 5-story high waves at the closest point in Santa Monica, and slightly lower waves up the entire west coast of North America, right up to the Aleutian Islands. And so if you look at the height there, the peak height is 17 meters, that's about 5 stories tall. And so here's what will happen. It would plunge into the Pacific, go to a depth of a couple of miles, 2 to 3 miles, and there it will explode, cavitating the Pacific to about a width of 3 miles. So that first impact will send the tsunami just shown. But then there's the matter of that hole in the Pacific Ocean. If you were a hole in the Pacific Ocean, what would you do? You close back in, right? So here's this water closing back in this huge hole. It splashes against itself, rises high in the sky, falls back down, cavitates the water again. That's another tsunami wave, headed right after that one, about 40 seconds after that one. And this rhythm will continue for the better part of an hour. That's how high up the water went, how much it will cavitate it on each time. But for each rhythm, it loses a little bit more energy. So the significant tsunamis will last about 40 minutes. But that first tsunami, there's a limit to how far inland it can go. Because the second tsunami needs that water for it to come in. So you can calculate how far the tsunami gets. It goes about a quarter mile inland along the entire coast. You could set up a velvet rope, chairs, and watch this happen. There's Betsy's house, yeah. It's in a slightly different shape than I remembered it. Nobody has to die. Laws of physics enable us to predict this event. It's a real prediction, with precision. But I'm pretty sure 2 people are going to die. We know who these people are.
Surfers.
2 people. I can accept that, 2 people. Because when you find out who they are, you'll agree with me and accept it. First person to die. The stupid surfer. Remember, this is California. Brad, man. Okay, what he doesn't know is as the tsunami comes in and out, all the $1 million homes that were on the ocean's edge become this tumbling ablative force that is wiping the entire coast clean of all human record. And so the surfer comes in once on the wave and then becomes the ablative force for every next. The next dead person. Now you know who these are. The stupid weatherman. Always trying to get the camera a little closer. Oh, the waves are crashing on the shore. Come in a little closer. You can see. And the camera guy runs away. 2 dead people, that's all that is. What happened this past February? An asteroid exploded over Chelyabinsk, Russia.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And we have the footage. We have the awesome footage. In Russia, they have many forward-pointing cameras on cars. This reduces the number of lawyers necessary in car accident trials because you have all the evidence there. It's not a he said, she said. So here we are in the early morning of February 15th. I don't mean to brag or anything, but I was the 24th person to view this video. because I got a phone call at 4 in the morning from NBC News. Dr. Tyson, we need you to comment this morning on an asteroid that just exploded over Russia. I said, what? No, that can't be. 1,000 people were hit by it. What? Here's the link. What? And then it's like I got a gazillion views now. It's hard to have been the 24th person to see something that has 20 million views. I'm just saying. So I felt special in a weird kind of way, right? So here it is. An asteroid the size of this sort of stage from speaker to speaker plunges into our atmosphere going 10 to 20 miles per second in speed. And if you're going that fast and you hit atmosphere, the atmosphere is not a comfortable blanket. It is like slamming into a brick wall if you're going that fast. Think about it. You've been driven down the highway, and you roll down the window, put your hand out, even at 60 miles an hour, your hand you can't even resist that wind. That's 60 miles an hour. Imagine going 10 miles per second. So this thing comes in, it loses its kinetic energy to heat. The heat pumps back into the object. It destabilizes the molecular forces that bind it together, and the thing explodes and vaporizes. Some pieces continue down. Most of it gets scattered out as a shock wave and as energy.
There's the black hole again.
Did anyone figure out what that is? I know it's not.
Paper.
That was a tsunami coming in.
Oh, you don't see it's a missing surfer is there? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Is it back? Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Oh man. Okay, let's do this. See, I upgraded the system 2 days ago. That's always a disaster. If not, I'll just go straight to the video file. And try this. Nope, okay. I'll just go straight to the video file. Ready? Oh, wait, I got you. Old people glasses. Good. Add it. Add it.
In 2009, remember? Nobody left. So it made me feel bad that I was boring.
Yeah, it goes. Okay. So this is a forward-facing camera. There.
That's booty.
I'm so not going to be able to do this because I can't even see the thing.
Space bar.
Let's try this. Okay, here we go. It's moving. Is it? Yeah, okay. Here we go. Here it coming in. The energy is being released.
I can hardly see it.
And it happens catastrophically. Right there. So right at that lower point there is where it deposited most of its energy. That had the energy of 25 Hiroshima bombs, exploding about 30 miles up. So the energy diluted into space, not completely leveling the town over which it exploded, such as what happened in Hiroshima. So this was a shot across our bow. Nobody died, so that's good. But there were a lot of facial injuries from glass. You know why? Because the people forgot their Physics 101. What happens when you forget Physics 101? Yeah, so they saw they're sitting there cooking breakfast. They're cooking breakfast, and they see this light come through the window. Like, alien lights that come through the window, like the land. And then they run to the window, then the shockwave comes. Light travels faster than sound. If you ever see a bright light in the window, go the opposite direction, okay? 1,600 people had broken glass shattered into their face from having went to view what was going on with that. So, they interviewed people, what would happen if the world was going to end tomorrow from a meteor? And this is, I just got to read some of this to you. Brad Clemmer, 19. I'd probably go to church, and then I'd get drunk. I'd spend all the money I have on women and alcohol. I'd fly to the Bahamas, sit on a beach with a tequila until the asteroid hit. So this is a common juxtaposition of alcohol and church for when the last day comes. The next one. I get married immediately, since I'm going to later this year anyway. We forget about the St. Lucia honeymoon. We just start getting loaded right after the wedding. Then the guy on the right. Pete Calabiska. I'd get together with all my friends and my family